A few years ago, I had to work on wiring network in a company. And during that time, I've learned about Fluke network tester. So I always dreamed about having one of them since then. But I have realized it was not, quite frankly, what I needed. And especially they are really expensive. Of course, you're going to tell me it is industrial devices. But then I have found some people that were doing Arduino network multi-tester, and that was more something I needed. So basically, you use a network interface and you plug this to your Arduino, which has a screen which will give you the ability to send a ping to get, of course, IP address and so on and so on. But then I forgot about this and I have bought a flipperzero. So let's go back in time. During a hackathon in Moscow, even built a module to plug a network interface in the flipperzero. And I was blown away about this project. I contacted him and discussed, and he released all his code on GitHub. You will find all the detail in the description, of course, as usual. And then I found also about this nice little project. This one will be a teaser for a later video. Now, let's go back to what we are talking about in this video, which is the Ethernet ping tester. So here, what we are going to be able to do is to ping, to change the MAC address of the device, change the IP address, get an IP from the DHCP, and yeah, then here it was a project. You will see mine, it's really far from being that nice. Only need a module W5500 and I have selected the light version. The reason is I'm going to use the prototype board, so it's taking less space than the full model, if I may say. After, it's up to you. So here, to make it easy, I have named all the different pin you need to use, which is from the left the MOSI, the SCLK, and the NSS, and on the right the MISO. Also, you need to take in consideration you need to use the 3.3 volt and the ground. For the light, compared to the full one, it is using 5 volt. Also, if you want to support the channel and you don't have the module yet, you could, if you want, click in the description. I have affiliate link, so I take a commission and that will help me to buy additional stuff and test some, and of course display them in the channel. Before going into the demo, I want to mention there is two ways basically you could compile the application. Either you download all the sources here and you do as usual. There is plenty of documentation. I don't want to spend time about this now. Or you could actually go to the flipc.org page where I've already sent the GitHub. So this is going to help you if you don't want to manually compile it. You could download it here and also compile for each new version of the stock firmware or even all the other custom one. First thing first, before jumping into the demo, let's start the flipperzero. Here you see, as soon as I have started the flipperzero, there is a little red light below the module, and that means it is powered on. So my nasty soldering is working. Now let's plug the Ethernet cable. Here we go. We see the green for like the physical cable status, and here there are data being exchanged. So it sounds good. Right now, like I told you, I'm using stock firmware with the application package copied on the root of my micro SD card. So I just need to browse and open it. Thanks to Ivan, we have a nice GUI. On the left side, we have all the different capabilities from the application, and on the right side, we have all the different data we could interact with. There is a third point where you could also see a counter on how many milliamp the module is draining. If you remember earlier, some Arduino project used this module too, and then mentioned they needed to use an extra power supply. The reason is this module could drain batteries. I do not have like many hours of testing running with the flipperzero, but that's something we might need to take attention on. Let's define the MAC address for the module. Here I will set up with the information we have here by default. So the MAC address is set. I have an ISP that provides me with, cable modem, etc. So I have a DHCP server, everything that is set up by the ISP. So here in my situation, I could just run the DHCP client and I will get an internal IP, and also I have detail about the gateway IP and the DNS server that is used by the gateway. Otherwise, if you do not have a DHCP server on your LAN and you want to set up a static IP address, you could. So that's really great and really handy. Then you just need to browse on each different settings you want to set, like the IP address, the mask, the gateway, and the DNS. Okay? So for my case, it's not relevant. Then I have like the ping. So here it's come by default pinging Google's DNS server 8888. Let's start it. But you could see my internet is not that fast. Okay? And last but not the least, there is a reset option that will reset all the settings and the module for you. So you could start it all over again. If you want to quit the application, you hit back and then you stay. And that's it. Thanks again for Ivan developing and being so kind with me and providing me the code and even the Jabber file if I wanted to ask for manufacturing a very nice PCB with the module itself. But here, to have like a cheaper alternative, I just bought the W5500 myself. Thanks again for watching and stay tuned for upcoming experiment.